In it's GOW Exchange. Can you please tell us about the name? Tell us more about the company and the name behind it.
Sure, Bruce, I'd be happy to. So we are GOW. GOW stands for Global Overseas Workers. We started our journey back in 2016 with a very, very simple goal, which is to be able to reduce the cost of remittance for overseas workers. I've worked in international banking for all of my life, and when I look at a world where two-thirds of the population don't have bank accounts, less than 2% don't have credit cards, we see that as one of the single biggest problems that we need to be able to solve. So we here at GW aim to be able to utilize blockchain technology to be able to help provide financial services for those underserved.
Right. Of course, the Philippines is quite big on overseas remittances, overseas Filipino remittances. So far, how are you seeing the reception, if ever, for GOW's services in the future once you do set this up, once you do have your formal launch here in the Philippines?
So we see the demand to be very, very large. I think there's a very strong demand, and that's one of the reasons why we want to service the Filipino customers within the Philippines. And along with the regulatory environment, those are the two main reasons that we've chosen to be able to start off in this country.
Yeah, talking more about that regulatory environment, that's right. The Philippines is actually among the few countries in the world that are regulating virtual currency exchanges or cryptocurrency exchanges. And you said that this is one of your primary reasons to go here. Other from that, why choose the Philippines?
A couple weeks back, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez coined a very, very interesting term called the liberal regulatory environment. And I think that term encapsulates a lot of what Philippines has to be able to offer in terms of allowing the space for fintechs to be able to learn, to be able to grow in partnership with the regulators. In terms of GOW, we work very closely together with the central bank, BSP, with the SEC, with rating agencies to be able to help build that foundation of trust together for our retail customers and for our institutional customers.
So with this somehow conducive business environment for virtual currency operators like you, like GOW, how much do you think could this generate in terms of trading volume, at least in your first year or in the coming years?
So the first year trading volume that we anticipate upwards of 80 million to 100 million USD per month, and that's our forecast. And we base this off that forecast, based off of numerous indicators. We base that off of where we see the trading market to be. And above and beyond the trading market, there's actually an application and utility market for digital assets for blockchain utilities. And together with the trading activity and the utility applications, we see a very strong demand in 2019.
So, talking about cryptocurrencies or virtual assets, most of them, especially Bitcoins, are not really getting this a good light in media right now. Bitcoin's really falling from all-time highs right now to quite low levels. I'm just not quite sure how much they are right now for Bitcoin. But amid this somehow volatile trading environment for cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies, how do you expect currencies, or for example, let's just begin. What currencies are you really expecting to be traded in GOW?
So, first of all, Bruce, I agree with you right there.
Yes.
2018 has certainly been a wild roller coaster ride in terms of the price of Bitcoin. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons I think is trust. And I think 2019 this year will be the year of trust. What we're seeing this year is that we're seeing a lot of the regulators, a lot of the rating agencies that we see in traditional finance markets, such as Standard & Poor's, Moody's. We see those type of agencies starting to move more and more into the traditional finance markets. For example, we here in GOW, we work with the regulators. We also work with rating agencies such as CoinSchedule to be able to help build that environment.
Okay, so somehow building this trust. Aside from that, and of course, I'm sure it will help that the Philippines is really regulating these currencies, these exchanges. But with that, how are we seeing down the line cryptocurrencies or virtual assets really going into mainstream that people like you and I would use them for our daily transactions?
I think that's a very, very good question, Bruce. And you know, for me personally, I think the need and demand is very, very real. When you have the average Joe needing to spend upwards of 10% of their income just to be able to send money back home to their family and loved ones for very simple things, such as tuition for healthcare, we think that's a real demand and real problem that we need to be able to solve. So, you know, if we look at the history of paper currency, for example, paper currency only came into existence due to regulation because of the Bretton Woods Agreement back in 1944. And before that, you know, what we used gold. We used gold as a system of trade, system of barter. So we here at GOW believe that in the future, data will be used as a system of trade and a system of barter. And that's where we believe that the application of blockchain as a utility will come in.
And with that, right now here in the Philippines, it's really not a country famous for its state of the art or fast internet speeds. But so with that, how do you think this could be a challenge for virtual currency operators like GOW to operate here in the Philippines?
So the beauty of blockchain and the beauty of digital assets is that the infrastructure is global, and the outreach is global. So our footprint is within the Philippines, and what we hope to do is we hope to be able to take that first step within the Philippines, but to also push the application and utility of blockchain of digital assets across Southeast Asia and eventually to other countries as well.
Right. And with that, just for a quick final question, also here in the Philippines, we are seeing, not just really in the Philippines, we're seeing data breaches,
Yes.
the vulnerabilities of the cyberspace globally. So with that, how can the blockchain technology be different from these online transactions?
So we here at GOW, we take cybersecurity very, very seriously, and we take customer assets and the protection of customer assets very, very seriously. If we look at the difference between blockchain technology and traditional internet technology, that blockchain technology is distributed, is decentralized. So from a security standpoint, it's much more difficult for bad activity doers to be able to infiltrate. And one of the things that we want to be able to do at GOW is we want to be able to provide an environment that is safe, is regulated, and that establishes trust for our users at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing us the plans and somehow the landscape of the virtual currency exchange or the virtual currency landscape here in the Philippines. Thank you again. That was Tim Ying of GOW Exchange.
Thank you, Bruce.